should see that red button that we are recording, so I don't have to give a disclaimer. And Rob, before I introduce you, because I'm not going to be running the meeting today, Rob will be running the meeting. I thought while I was showering this morning, Rob and I had this out. He had a very, very sharp, pertinent critique of the last meeting, and I said, "You run it this time, my friend," and he accepted. The best leader is a follower. I want to follow this time. Okay, so there is one other thing to add to the agenda, though, Rob, and that is I spoke at length with Charles and Heidi yesterday about website stuff and blogging, and so I will, at the appropriate moment, I'll review what we covered yesterday. So thank you all for coming. I think people will be drifting in now that it's 8 o'clock. I will try to be always to start the meeting early so that people can get seated, so to speak, and we don't have to be flustered or floundering around at the beginning of the meeting with people joining. But here it is, top of the hour, and we'll see who does come in from a rather lengthy list of invitees from all over the world. Okay, so let me introduce Rob as the chair of this meeting, and I'll participate. He'll give me back the microphone, so to speak. But actually, Rob, would you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm the executive director of the Ocean River Institute in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I have a PhD in environmental studies from Antioch, New England. And the mission of the Ocean River Institute provides opportunities to make a difference and go the distance for savvy stewardship of a greener and bluer planet Earth. And so we are a very collaborative organization, tiny, but lots of collaborations. I also I'm the founding chair of Ocean Champions, which is the only political voice for oceans working with the US government officials and stuff. And I'm just delighted with this science warning program that you guys have all built. This is really exciting.
Well, we haven't built it yet, but we are working our hardest to build it. Hi, Claire. Claire just joined us.
Well, I read that that article, and it just was very exciting. And it's very exciting. It's an excellent website you set up here that is conveying lots of information.
Yeah. Good. Well, a lot of it is borrowed. I will have to say, borrowed without citation from World Wildlife Foundation, but sources that I felt would not mind my using their words without attribution. So. Okay. Somebody's got background noise coming in. I don't know who that is.
Hello, is it me?
Hi, Claire.
Hello there.
Okay, good. So we're just starting the meeting, and Rob is actually chairing it. So Rob, back to you.
Can you post the agenda?
Oh, well, I can share the screen and show the agenda.
Yeah,
so
show the agenda.
Let's see. Hold on. This is a little bit of a deal, but okay. Share screen. Where is it? Word, Microsoft Word. Agenda.
See, I've got the best job because Stuart does all the work, and I just say, okay, talk about this, and then talk about that.
Everyone, I hope, can see the agenda if you've got a video link. And if you don't have a video link, we will be following it and reading out as we transition. So, so there you have it. Well, I'll run through the items quickly. So I'm going to go over a little bit of the history of what we're doing for people who are new. I wanted to talk about forming a core team. I want to update people on the website, changes that we're doing quickly or slowly. And then we'll talk about how to building membership by blogging, reaching out to other bloggers, blogging ourselves. Rob wanted people on the call to introduce themselves, so we'll have a brief time for just a quick where you're located, your name, what you do perhaps. And then takeaway. So Rob, that's yours. I'm not sure what you meant by takeaway. I think updates will probably already have been covered in the website.
Yeah, you can take updates out. I put that in.
Okay, good. Okay. International scientists warning groups, organizations. Again, I'm not sure what you meant there, Rob. So you'll explain that.
Yeah, the word is International Scientists Warning Network.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a network I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
And
Good.
involves the groups and organizations.
Okay. Good. And then any new business. So if people want to discuss things, towards the end, that's for anybody who wants to bring things up, and it'll be, we'll need one person to be watching all of the faces for somebody putting up their hand. Because if we have as many people as last time, then we will be tiny postage stamps, and I won't see people waving necessarily. But we'll try to monitor that.
Well, right now we're all open. This is good.
Yeah. Okay.
Just speak up if you have something to say.
Yeah. So if we're unmuted, then you don't have to wave hand precisely. And then we're proposing, we'll finalize what we're proposing the next call to be on August 29th. Okay.
Thank you, Stuart. Yeah, we're going to discuss when the next call will be, and that's the earliest. I mean, there's a few dates that Stuart can do we can talk about. So
okay, good.
It's misleading to see a date put in there because it hasn't been decided yet. And also, so are there other items that people want to put on the agenda?
Yeah. Anybody have anything now? We'll throw it on new business.
Good. Okay, so let's...
Wait, Claire?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, Claire raised her hand. Let me unmute her. So Claire, what would you like to put on the agenda?
Hi. I just wonder if it's possible to take a couple of minutes to explain to people about the movement that we're building in London and across the UK.
Oh,
yes.
That will put that under. Okay, and you're talking about that Extinction Rebellion.
Yeah.
Well, don't give away your show yet. Wait till.
Okay, no, but to me it was an exciting name. So
we're going to focus at the beginning of the. In fact, why don't we do? I like to do quick introductions, and Claire, you could set the example. Well, I can set the example, and then we'll go to Claire. I'm Rob Moyer of the Ocean River Institute, and I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And I was going to ask people to say something about this organization, but it gets too complicated. So let's just go around and say that much. What are you doing related to this? In my case, it's the Ocean River Institute.
Ray,
okay.
Go ahead. I was going to go organized by how we are on the screen. So Ray,
okay, go for it.
Introduce yourself and where you are.
I'm in Peoria, and that's about all.
Okay, good.
Hey, thank you, Ray.
Okay, and then Reading Group again.
Yeah, I'm Bill Dowling, actually. We'll have to change this sometime. I actually run a local group for a charity, Population Matters in the United Kingdom, and I'm an ex-Friends of the Earth and group leader as well, but I'm still a member of Friends of the Earth and World Wildlife Fund supporter. So I've got very strong links with the environmental movement.
Okay, and then Tonelli.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tonelli. I'm from Finland, and I currently am living in Rovaniemi. And how to say, I'm kind of a semi-activist, and I'm a worried citizen, and I do understand. Think I do understand severity, what we are talking about, and so that's why I want to do what I can.
Thank you, Heidi and Charles.
Hi, I'm Charles Gregoire, and I'm just helping out with the website. And I am concerned, obviously, about the situation with the globe, and just doing my part, I guess, at a personal level, and maybe reaching out to help out with this movement.
Okay, good. And then I think we have Margaret. Oh, Heidi, I missed you. I'm sorry.
I don't know where Charles is. But yeah, where are you guys located?
Well, we're currently in Magog, Quebec, but we live in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Heidi, introduce yourself.
Heidi, and basically I'm just interested in anything with climate change, and we recently bought ourselves an electric car, so yay for us.
Okay, good. Margaret?
Hi, I'm a retired archaeologist from London. I used to teach for Birkbeck Faculty of Continuing Education, teaching adults about prehistory, human evolution, environmental archaeology, etc., and research on teeth and bones.
Okay, and Claire?
Yeah, hi, I'm in London as well, and I'm interested in environment anyway, many different sort of facets to my life, but recently I've been working with a group of people who are focused on social research into how direct action can affect actual social and political change and challenge serious injustice, and try to use the sort of information that we have from past movements to inform a new uprising of, like, quote unquote ordinary people to put a huge sort of political pressure on the British establishment to take proper action in the face of this sort of unprecedented emergency.
Good. Okay. And
Yikes, Claire, you got your work cut out for you.
Next we have somebody who's walking, and he comes in as ASUS X00DD. Who is that?
Probably it's me, Carlos from Lisbon, Portugal. How are you?
Oh, okay. Yes, Carlos, and you're the walking man.
The walking man, yes.
Okay,
as last time I was traveling, I'm also traveling again. Maybe I can take you a bit of Lisbon sunshine and the nice weather that we have over here. Okay. So, hello everyone. I'm Carlos. I'm from Portugal. I'm a long-time climate activist. I've been engaged with several NGOs and several climate movements. I'm currently serve as the national coordinator for Portugal for the Climate Reality Project. Researcher, the professor, and I do many things at the same time.
Okay.
Nice to be here.
Very good. Now, Jordan, you have yourself muted, but I'm going to mute you, Carlos, because you make noise since you're walking.
I mute myself. Okay. I think.
Okay, you mute yourself. Good. Okay, so Jordan, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Jordan Winquist. I'm an attorney here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, part of the National Lawyers Guild. So this is my first call, so I'm just kind of catching up and seeing how we can help out or plug in.
Lawyer. Oh, hallelujah. we really, another lawyer from England contacted me, wanted to be part of this. I don't know if he'll join, but we definitely need some legal advice at some point, whether to organize, how to okay. We're flying seat of the pants. Okay, next we have Jane. Jane, I'm going to unmute you. Can you speak to us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Okay, I'm just an ordinary citizen, like Claire said.
Okay.
But I'm very passionate about the changing world, protecting species, and the changing environment. So if I can help in any way, I'd like to.
Well, we appreciate you being here, and I don't think there are any ordinary citizens here. We're all kind of extraordinary in the fact that we are the 1 out of a million people who are concerned and willing to spend some of our life doing something about this.
Jane, I missed where you are.
Sorry, London, England.
London, yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay, I'll be there, by the way. That's something also I should mention. We didn't have that in the thing, Rob, is that I wanted to reach out to this group, and I'll do by email also. I'm going to be in a trajectory that'll take me across the Western Hemisphere the rest of this year, and I want to make presentations about the scientists' warning if anybody can get a group together proximate to where I'll be. And I'll be going first to Mexico, and then to New York, Washington, Boston, and then across to Rome, and on upward through Europe to Scandinavia. So there's a moving target there, but if we can do it, it doesn't matter large or small group.
Well, we're going to have a permanent agenda item, which is Stuart's Travels. So at each call, they'll be on the agenda for you to tell us where you've been and where you're going.
I have to say,
we don't want any surprise visits. We want to know ahead of time where you're going.
Okay, I have to apologize to you and to the world, because I think most people in society wear their travel as a badge of distinction, and I wear it as a badge of shame. I'm ashamed of how much I have to travel. But okay, Rob.
It's important work you're doing.
Okay, Rob introduced himself earlier, but do it so again, Rob, would you?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm Rob Moyer from the Ocean River Institute. I live in Somerville, Massachusetts, the most densely settled municipality in the Northeast. After World War II, we were second only to Calcutta, and I love it. And that's who I am. Okay, good. And Bill Everett, can you speak with us? Or again, Bill was coming in possibly from a computer that doesn't have a microphone or so Bill is with us. He's an American citizen living in Russia. So thank you, Bill, for joining us. Good. I think there we go. So Rob, you want to? Yes. So Stuart, would you remind us how this organization began?
Okay. So I'll go back very quickly to the genesis. In 1992, a warning was issued, the World Scientists' Warning to Humanity. It was published by the Union of Concerned Scientists in Washington, D.C., and it was published with the signature of 1,700 plus or minus scientists and social scientists. And it made a splash, but humanity has a very short memory, and it was soon gone with the wind. And then 25 years later, a second notice was issued as a peer-reviewed article in Bioscience. This one had 15,000 signatures when it was issued, and an additional 7 or 8 have signed on since. It was a very strong wake-up call, got well reported, but it's organized by scientists, pretty much for scientists, and there's no notion of how to maximize the impact on the human imagination and how well we're doing things. Well, when I was introduced to it early this year, I immediately contacted the central person, Bill Ripple, and I said, Bill, can I work with you? I'd like to do the public side of this. And we worked it out. And so scientistswarning.org, which is how we all got together, is the public side out of this. And very quickly, I realized that we have the makings of a movement here. Now, the environmental movement is well known. It's been around for 50 years. And to its credit, there have been some small successes. To its deficit, whatever, not intentional. It did not succeed in, somebody's making a lot of noise again. Please keep the background noise down.
Stuart, we don't have to critique the last stuff, though. This is a good organization that's going.
I'm
and then there was a
Andrew
publication.
Andrew just came in and he may be making the noise.
Oh, hi, Andrew.
Okay, let me see if I'll unmute him. Welcome, Andrew.
Welcome.
Okay, I think it was Andrew making the noise when he was setting up, so good. In future,
I apologize.
No, that's fine. In future meetings, remember to arrive 15 minutes early. I'll be online 15 minutes early, so you can arrive, get seated, just technology.
We'll do small talk, get to know each other and stuff.
Okay, so scientistswarning.org is trying to take the Scientists' Warning public in a big way. We're trying to develop a movement with, God willing, millions of people who are concerned citizens. I didn't mention this to you before, but let me show people now. I'll do a screen share momentarily. We are recording for the people who just joined us. This is the, where we go? Okay, here. This is a mock-up of a symbol that someone, a housemate of mine, created for a potential future direction we may go. We may rename what we're doing the Union of Concerned Citizens for Earth, but the for Earth is not in here. There are pros and cons of using this symbol, but I just wanted to show you conceptually, since I think this is such a good graphic meme for how we're headed. Okay.
Great. Scott, could you tell us, so you got the program published in an article about population?
Well, what it was Bill Ripple, the scientist who's at the center of the second notice. He's an ecologist out of the Oregon State University. He was contacted by Alistair from Population Matters in England. How can they help? And it turned into a press release, also known as media advisory, in England on the United Nations Population Day. And that press release had a big bounce in the press, and he gave the link to our website, and we got about 600 or 700 signups within 2 or 3 days after that. And we've had a slow but steady ongoing number of signups. And then we were mentioned in an online publication, I won't call it a blog, by a journalist by the name of Robert Hunziker, where he gave a good chunk of his article to talking about us, and then that was republished in England. So that came out in the US and in England, and we have another a surge of membership. When I say surge, we're still small, but I think we're probably pushing 1,200 now. Which
that is terrific. Yeah. Could you add those 2 documents to the website?
The 2 documents.
The Populations Matter piece and the piece by the other gentleman you just talked
Okay, we'll have to figure out where, and Charles is in on this, so we have to figure out, Charles, where we can post.
Under news or something.
Well,
put it in a blog post, like as
a blog
yeah,
post.
just link to blog post.
Yeah. The news, by the way, they're called RSS feeds. They're automatic, so it's.
I see.
Okay, so, alrighty, so that pretty much brings it up to date.
So you were talking about doing some blogging from our website.
Okay, yeah. Charles and I and Heidi spent an hour yesterday talking about things to develop on the website, and Charles has a prodigious list of things to do. But one of the major things that I think we placed it as a high priority was to create a blog area on our website so that all of us here and all of the membership, we can send out an email to everyone saying, if you would like to post a blog about anything to do with the World Scientist's Warning, any part of it, whether it's veganism or population or pretty much anything, write a post. We'll have an editor for the blog, submit it to the editor, who'll do corrections and whatnot, and engage with you about it. And then that'll be a blog post. And then it can be promoted by us and be promoted by you and be promoted however it is, bringing more flow through our website.
That's great. And Charles and Heidi, have you been working on this website too?
Yes.
We're just starting.
Yeah, I think I got our website backed up, Stuart. I created,
that was the first thing I told Charles.
That was an easy catch. That was an easy.
We need to start backing up the website. At some point, I want to remain cognizant of the fact that there are very strongly funded forces out there that would probably try to disrupt what we're doing. And so we have to have some mind that at some point we will be infiltrated. Somebody will be joining us probably in these meetings who is a mole for the opposition. That's life. Okay. So,
well, we won't expose much for them to, we have no financial value for them to go after.
No, but they can try to disrupt if we're succeeding in undermining the, say, fossil
yes,
fuel.
there will be efforts to do that. And one thing is that you're having people going through you before posting a blog, so you can't get any trolling happening on our website.
Yeah.
Everything is monitored, is regulated, and it's got firewalls in it. And stuff.
But one thing we'll probably have to do though is not permit for Charles, not permit comments or pings or whatever they call it on our blog posts, because
he'll set it up so that they will be monitored. He'll choose whether to post it or edit it or something.
Well,
you want people to be able to respond to the blog. You want the right stuff.
Okay.
But it'll be supervised.
It'll have to be moderated comments. Yeah.
It'll be by permission. So he will permission. Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Charles, you want to speak to that? I shouldn't have answered for you.
Well, it's kind of built into WordPress. You can kind of get it so that before a blog before a comment to a blog gets posted, it has to go through somebody.
It has to go through a moderator before it appears.
Before it appears, yeah.
Okay. And we're not going to be doing thousands of blogs, so if it's a couple a week, then it's probably a realistic flow of comments. Okay, good. Rob, back to you.
Charles, would you be a moderator on that?
I don't know.
It's a job.
I think that we'll see what kind of content comes through, and we'll see what, I don't know, I guess we'll work that out with Stuart and the gang here, like what we want to, allow and not allow on the site. I'm not sure I'm the right person to do that.
Okay.
I run a blog called Clam Chowder blog, and I also have an Ocean River Institute blog. And so I'll get constituents talking about climate change on it. And so, I want those posts to go up, and I'll get people swearing at the president, and I won't post those kinds of things. But we need to have that set up before we can start putting blogs out, because nothing worse than trying to comment and not being responded to and stuff.
Okay.
So we can think about that. I'd be happy to moderate it. It's easy to do. It's
okay, good.
To tell that, So I'll give you my. Everybody, you're welcome to have my email address. It's Rob, R-O-B, at Ocean River. That's one word, oceanriver.org.
Okay, I'm going to write it into the chat box for those. Rob at
Yeah.
OCEANRIVER.org, and that should pop up in the chat box. That
Oh, there it is. I see it there. From Stuart to everyone. Yeah. So you're welcome to write me and to visit oceanriver.org. See what we're up to.
Okay, I see there's other flow coming through the chat box, and I'll just catch up. So Bill Dowling suggested that the agenda go out in advance of the meeting. That's a great idea, Bill. We are seat of the pants on this, and the agenda was just being arranged 15 minutes before the meeting started. So we'll try to be better organized in the future.
I guarantee we will be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and that's part of why Rob is running this meeting, is because I'm not the best at doing it. I have too much going on. I compare myself to the old style jugglers who would put plates on the top of little sticks and they spin them, and when one would start to wobble, they'd go and as soon as all 12 were going, they'd put a 13th one up there. I'm constantly biting off more than I can chew. So.
Well, you missed the interesting part. About half an hour before we started this meeting, I had one agenda and Stuart had a different agenda. We had clashing agendas, you know? But we got a synthesis here. So we're moving forward. Stuart, talk to us about core teams.
Oh, okay.
We need a core team. Yeah. What is that?
Okay. Well, the way I was kind of trained in how to, the best way to run the best way to run an organization is to have a core team of 5 people. Now that number's not a magic number, but an odd number means there's always a tiebreaker. If you get more than 5, then it gets to be top heavy, and getting everybody involved is difficult. Fewer than 5, it tends to be undemocratic and not a good spread of ideas. So 5 is the optimal number. So it's not fixed in stone, but I'm going to try to get a core team of 5 people. I'd be one of them. Lorna Solzman, who joined me early on, would be one of them, continue to be one of them if she wants to. Rob, since he's stepped up to the plate, would be one of them. And we pretty much are looking for 2 more people to be part of that core team who feel that they're very available. They're in the spreadsheet where people were asked to put their geographic coordinates and how many hours per week. There were 3 people who put down like 6, 7, or 10 hours of availability. So somebody who's got the time is preferred. Okay, we won't necessarily enforce geographical distribution, but it's also good to have geographical distribution. I will notice that we are mostly Western Hemisphere now, but I'm headed to Southeast Asia this Thursday, and I will try to organize something in Southeast Asia and China. I don't think our website is blocked in China. I think it's available in China, which is a good thing. But the translation, we don't have translations. I left that out. We will at some point be looking for full-on translations of the website. Right now we've got a Google widget that the translation is, in some languages and terrible in other languages. But I spoke with two women who are keen to do a Spanish translation where the whole site exists in Spanish, where would be scientistswarning.org/SP. Okay, we're being joined by Clovis. Clovis, my good friend Clovis, who's coming to us from Brazil.
Hello.
Clovis, tilt your computer a little bit far. There we go. Okay. Now let me introduce Clovis because he's very important to what we're doing. He's the current president of the International Society for Ecological Economics. And I am a strategic advisor to him. I think the problem that we've got is that we have a dysfunctional economic system in place. It actually has a name, neoclassical economics, but the name dropped out of the record when it was installed as the only thing being taught in all the business schools all around the world. So why do you need to call it anything? Just call it economics. And 100 years later now, we've forgotten that there are other ways to run the human economy, ways that are less perniciously attacking nature. Clovis represents what I feel is the strongest contender, ecological economics, but I won't go into that in depth right now. Okay, so
yes, I'm in favor of strong sustainability.
Yes, I'll mention, Clovis says strong sustainability. there's something called, well, there's the neoclassical economics, which has branded itself as just economics. There's environmental economics and there's ecological economics, and they're vastly different. Environmental economics says if you just put a price on natural system services and let the invisible hand of the market work things out, everything will be fine. It's called weak sustainability. I won't go into it technically. Ecological economics says you have to start with the place that the human economy exists within nature. You have to takes inputs from nature and disposes of its wastes into nature, and you can't exceed the inputs or the capability for the outputs to be absorbed, or you're going to have a system that's in crisis, which we have now. Okay. Ecological economics is the way to go, or some variant on it. Okay, Jane joined us recently. Welcome, Jane. And anybody else, any new joins? No, okay, very good. So Rob, back to you, or?
Yes, so we just talked about the importance of a core team, right? It's much like an executive committee of a board where the whole board doesn't meet, but you've got a small group that the director can whistle together at short notice. These bi-weekly, every 2-week calls feels like a core team, because that's about how frequent a core team would be working together, I would think.
Okay, but there's no fixed membership then, and because we had different members, there's some overlap, but different people were at the last meeting, so.
Right. So I understand that.
Yeah, okay.
At Ocean Champions, we have an executive committee, and then the executive committee meetings are open to other board members, so that people can, if they're interested, but we got the core people there who are doing the real sausage making of the organization.
Okay, well, we can do that. We can organize.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, okay, the core
because
team
right now we're still
2 weeks.
adding
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
Our next core meeting will be the next phone call, the next conference call.
That sounds good. Okay. Next on the agenda.
So on the agenda was a website update, but I think we covered that.
We covered a lot of it. Let me go
ahead.
a little bit further.
Yes.
So we're going to be blogging on the website. I'm going to add a new page to the website under the stressors. Currently, there are 8 stressors: ocean and soils, and all the way to climate and population. We're going to add one that was suggested to me yesterday: how we feed ourselves.
All right.
It overlaps with all the others, but it's basically the food choices we make them. And we're not going to push veganism on anybody, but we're going to mention veganism, vegetarianism, eating lower on the food chain, non-industrial approaches to animal husbandry, etc. We've mentioned blogging. We are going to merge the scientists and individuals into one category of signing up. So it'll just be individuals and organizations. And so scientists will sign on as individuals. That way we put ourselves out of, shall we say, competition with the Scientists Warning's official website, which is only for scientists at Oregon State University. Okay, so that'll be an update. There are other small things, but those are the 3 major things for me to mention.
I'm a little confused
Okay. On what part?
about the separation of lists of members.
Currently, if you go to our website and it says please sign, and you click, that'll give you or hover over it, it'll give you 3 choices. You can sign up as a scientist or a social scientist. You can sign up as an individual endorsement, or you can sign up as an organizational endorsement. And
Right.
It was pointed out yesterday by a few people that it would greatly relieve confusion if we merged the scientists sign up on our website with the individual sign up on our website, because essentially they are the same and it's confusing people. I'm getting scientists who are signing up as individuals, and I'm getting individuals who are signing up as scientists. Okay, so we are going to probably merge those 2 together. And there's one critical field where it's called different things on the 2 signups. It's called your role in life on the individual endorsement. It's called your title and position and institution. Okay, I'm going to have to get some I'm going to have to merge those 2. So if it's a scientist coming in, we're encouraging them to give us their professional coordinates. If it's an individual, I don't want to hem them into thinking they have to report what their job is or they're inferior. Like I said, there are no ordinary citizens in this. So I want role in life to be there so a person can define themselves, what they do, what's most important to them. But I also want scientists to know we really want your coordinates. But I think those two things need to be merged into one.
It is nice. I signed up as a scientist. You have a nice letter that says, thank you for signing up as a social scientist or a natural scientist. And you want to continue that because that's our name, is that we're Scientists Warning. So we want to thank scientists for joining with us.
Well, there is a problem with that, Rob, which you and I will have to discuss.
Oh, it's because of the other website, because of
exactly.
Oregon.
It sets us up in competition with the other website.
Oh, I see.
They want all of the scientists coming exclusively to them.
That's right. It is confusing.
It is confusing.
I thought I was joining. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
good. Okay, we'll handle that later.
So we just have to take away the talk about being scientists. And, because people could put down where they work instead of, it could be their lawyers. We want to know who's a lawyer too, not just their interest.
Yeah, the thank you email that goes out will have to be nuanced.
Yeah, well, let's talk some more about the sign up when you want to. Well, no, go ahead.
Later.
I'll look at what you do, and I'll tell you what I think of it and stuff.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're doing the seat of the pants, guys. I call myself a person of very strong opinion, very weakly clung to. Rob came along and said, the way you ran the meeting last time stunk. He didn't use it he wasn't quite that rude, but
I said it was off-putting, I think.
Okay, whatever. And so I agreed with him and I said, please, you run it this time. And so that's why I have strong suits, I have weak suits. So, okay, good. So moving along, Rob, you want to take it away?
Yes. So, one of the issues that came up in the last call was that Stuart was getting all these groups signing up with all these logos and just feeling overwhelmed by it. And that is an area that I can help with at the Ocean River Institute, because we have many partners and we give them a page on our website and they control the content of the page. So I'm offering to host the International Scientist Warning Network, meaning that we would recognize all the organizations that join and put up their logos and provide connections to links to their home pages and stuff. And I could also have a newsletter that tells people who's joined and stuff like that.
Are you the webmaster for that website?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I think it would be better if the same mechanism you use existed under our URL. So you and Charles probably need to talk about how to do what you do on our website, but would be an discussion afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, back to you, Rob. Any other thing on the agenda to discuss before we throw it open to new business?
So I'm going to mock up what that page would look like, and you guys can critique it.
Yeah. By the way, I'm sorry. Excuse me for interrupting.
Yeah.
We are getting some very strong organizations that have endorsed us, and I have access to a lot of very well-known individuals who as we mature in the way we look and sound, I will ask them to endorse us as well, either as an organization or as an individual. But people like Gus Speth, who's one of the old timers, I wrote to him. I said, "Would you be on our advisory board?" And he said, his reply was favorable, but he said, "I'm totally under the gun right now. Please come back to me in 2 weeks."
Yeah. So I'm only looking at just the groups that sign up, not the individuals, but because they're the ones with logos and that gets the whole kind of, could someone send me the logos and groups that have signed up and I'll mock up a page for you?
We'll give you access to that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A way to get that. That'd be great. Okay. Show us our agenda, fearless leader here.
Okay, you want me to post the agenda or share the agenda again? Hold on, I have to get back to the right screen and do a screen share and find the agenda. There we go. I think we're most of the way through the agenda. What was takeaway, Rob? Or broader mission?
Yeah, I felt there was a need to better engage us all in talking about you know, what the organization meant to us, and what were some of the action words, and maybe invite people to play around with play around. The takeaway was, you know, after we talk about our different meanings of it, to try writing up your own mission statement for a science warning, and away from here, and then you know, email a bunch of statements like that we could all share together at the next meeting. Okay. Is that something that people be interested in doing, or well, we got some time.
Well, now somebody again has a lot of background noise there. Okay. Please, I think it's you again, Carlos. Are you unmuted? I'm going to mute you. Okay, good. Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm going to set up a forwarding email address as soon as the call is over to proposals@scientistswarning.org, and they will go to Rob currently. So if you want to make a proposal about what we should be doing, the way you'd like to see this movement going, then you'll write that proposal. What we can consider at the next meeting, you can write that proposal to proposals at, and I'll put that down here. It's not live yet. At scientists, hold on, warning.org. Okay, if I've spelled it right, that email address, within an hour after this meeting's over, that will forward to Rob. So you're welcome to send your personal or your mission statement for the Scientists Warning Organization.
Yeah, just be creative, and I'll collect them, and then I will send them. Anyone who sends me that, I'll have their email, and I will take your name away from it and just put them as a list of different ideas, and send it to the group who submit things to just play with different ways of presenting ourselves, basically.
Okay.
Because I think we got a good start with education and environment, ecology, and stuff. But it's just a way of engaging people in this business, because ultimately we're all going to be ambassadors or spokespersons for Scientists Warning, and need to be able to explain what we're about passionately to everyone else. And it might vary from region to region or something. I don't know, but it doesn't have to be on the webpage. It could just be what you use in talking about us. So it's a fun kind of creative group think and project. Good. Thank you.
What did you mean by takeaway, Rob?
The takeaway was take away this thought and go write about it and email us. So that was your homework kind of thing. Takeaway was a homework.
Okay, and then Rob, you have an agenda item, International Scientists Warning Network. Can you talk about that?
Right, we just talked about that. I'm going to mock up a web page that meets that need.
So you're talking about partners?
I'm only talking about the organizations that partner with us.
Organizational partners. Okay, so
yeah.
it's because there's two. I'm going to say partner network.
Okay, that doesn't mean individuals. That means yes, right.
Okay, good. By the way, all the traffic behind me, I'm the owner and landlord in a group house, and that's how I support my environmental activities for the last 10 years. So.
Well, thank them for supporting you. I'm glad you're getting some income somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, so there's two parts to the network then. There's the partner network that is organizations, and then there's the network of what I would call at this point nodes. We're not to the point where we're forming nodes, but eventually we'll probably have a UK node and maybe a Europe node and a Scandinavia node. As people step forward wanting to get closer into the organization of this network, we'll create nodes. I don't want to call them chapters. That's kind of a stodgy old term, but calling them nodes is more in the internet lingo. But those are not emerging yet. We don't have enough organizers for those nodes. Basically, once you get 3 people in an area who are willing to cooperate as a team, then you have a node. 5 is optimal, but 3 is adequate. Okay, so I think we're down to the new business. Has anybody, let me unshare, and so I can see everybody. Okay, has anybody got anything they want to discuss? Okay. Charles?
Yeah, Stuart, I just wanted to, when we were having our discussion yesterday about the blog, I understand what a blog is, but the thing is that I wonder if we should consider having some kind of forum as well.
Oh, good thought. Thank you. It was suggested to me that we I can't bring everything up all the time at every meeting, so thank you for reminding me. We need and will have a Facebook group, which will be for public discussion. We need and will probably have a Google group, which is for discussion amongst the people who've said, I want to be part of the organizing. That'll be a private discussion, which eventually will be infiltrated by people from the opposition. So. Okay, is that covered basically, theoretically, Charles? Those two things.
The forum on the website.
Well, yeah, I guess what I was thinking was that we can have this forum where people are, maybe you have some thread ideas that you pick, like one would be, personal carbon footprint, and then people can share what they've done.
Let me explain.
Or another one where you talk about political advocacy and people can share what they're doing on that.
Let me explain where I felt that coming in the future. I don't think we're there quite yet. There were two menu items that I could not really get thoroughly fleshed out. One of them was actions and the other was called resources. And in those two menu items, I intended to have a wiki somewhere where people could post actions and other people could join them. They would be indexed in various ways by time, if it's an event that's going to happen in time sequence, if it's a geographical, there would be multi-dimensions in which you could scan for something in your area that had to do with whatever your personal hot button is. That I think we don't quite have the population of members yet for that to be needed, an absolute need. So maybe just a free-form forum discussion, but I find that open-ended forum discussions tends to kind of peter out into, fewer and fewer posts and nothing gets done. So I don't know. That's a personal observation.
Well, that's the way you could work the blog, is that you would pick one of those topics and write a good blog about it, and then people start responding to that posting. And then, a month later, you talk about something else. And so you roll them out sequentially, and the blog stays there forever. So anyone who's trolling can find it and comment about that. But the base can focus on one item and then focus on the next item, rather than having item pages. Then only the people interested in that specific go to it, and you want to hit everybody the first time out, I would think.
It's a TBD. We will figure that one out. But your point is well taken, Charles. So that's a future action item, and you keep that in your mind. Now, any other suggestions? New business?
I felt like I was on the side of a rocket.
No hands? Oh, okay, there we go.
Oh, Claire was going to tell us about England.
Well, Claire next, but we just had, it's Bill Dowling, yeah?
That's right, yeah. I think the first meeting you asked for some suggestions for cartoons. Are you still open to receiving some of those? I haven't had time to send what I intended to send.
Yes. There
ideas?
Still open to it. Political cartoons are a very effective way of getting across messages sometimes. I have one on our website right now on the team page. Some people love it. A couple people didn't like it because it was retro. I like it because it's retro. But yes, so we're open to new political cartoons. When I say political, we're talking about basically on the ecological theme skewering the politicians probably, or the business community. But yes, we're open to those cartoons.
Can I have one more question? I've been tracking the sign-ups for organizations very closely as best I can. I'm finding it this is on the Scientist Warning website. We're about 50, I believe, now. I'm finding it most frustrating in that they're not in any logical sequence. And when a new one goes in, it seems to go in anywhere, so it's very hard to spot the new one.
Okay,
very
good.
At the end,
Well, this is something that Charles can probably affect pretty easily, because right now I think the sort order is alpha on the name of the person who submitted it. So we can specify the sort order to be the time that it was submitted. But what I've also asked Charles to do, and this is not an easy task, it's going to take some work, is to put in a hidden field in the database where we can manually assign a priority. So if Friends of the Earth or some well-known organization, if the UN Environment Program, UNEP, endorses us, we want that to sort to the top.
Right.
Okay, so, okay. But thank you for that comment. And Charles and I will discuss it afterwards. Okay, now
yeah, there is a field that says what date, you know, people's timestamp, and you know, maybe we should sort and be able to sort in different ways. I don't know. That's up to you, Stuart.
Okay. Well, I think we'll discuss it. We'll discuss how to create the interface so individuals who come to the website can maybe determine how they want to sort it. But that's a little bit more complicated. And I think if you want, it should be easy to sort them by date instead of sorting by alpha on the.
That's right.
That's
yes,
right.
That should be easy. So, okay, we'll try to do that quickly. So you particularly, Bill, can continue to monitor the groups that are endorsing. Okay, good. Now I'd like to give the floor to Claire.
Sorry, just had to unmute myself. Thank you very much. And thanks for having me, and thank you for everybody for being here and all the work that everyone's doing. Just to give you a brief sort of overview of what we've got in mind as what we see, obviously, as you all do, as a potentially very quick route to human extinction, along with the mass extinction event that's going on anyway. There's a sort of network across the UK, a growing network of direct action focused activists who are organising a rebellion against the British government for their inaction on climate matters. We're framing this in the context that, it's now a pan-political issue. If you're like conservative and you believe in property and protecting the economy, you should be against it. If you're a leftist, then you're against it. And there's myriad reasons why you can sort of like slam any political argument, and there's no political reason why our government should be greenlighting fracking or investing in other fossil fuel-based infrastructure, trying to expand airports, etc. So over the last year, I've been involved, and we've organised quite a lot of direct action-based campaigns, taking quite radical approaches in terms of taking civil disobedience to a level which is not really that common these days, in terms of ensuring people get arrested and also people pushing to the point of imprisonment. As part of the practice. I also recently undertook a 2-week hunger strike against the expansion of an airport. So we're sort of trying to change the culture of direct action and what people think is a reasonable way to respond to the situation that we're in. So the rebellion will start in November. We're going to make a declaration to the British government at the end of October to say that any political sort of philosophy states that when a state is planning to damage the lives or kill the people of their own country, that constitutes a tyranny, and you have a right and also a duty to rebel against that. So the framing is in this kind of very old-fashioned kind of context of taking a moral stance against an oppressive state, which, because of their behaviour, we believe that that's really the situation that we found ourselves in. So over the summer we'll be holding about 100 workshops and talks, mostly about people heading for human extinction and what they could do about it, and talk about the history of direct action. We have some PhD researchers who are working on those theories for how to design escalating direct action campaigns. We're going to be talking to people about what we're giving to young people. Some of us are young, some of us are old. There's an interesting cross-section of society involved in this movement already. And to make certain demands that we demand that the government reduces carbon emissions to 0 within the next decade. And we also demand that we are to set up national assemblies of ordinary citizens to replace corrupt political institutions, certainly in the context of tackling climate crisis. Most of the actions will happen in London, but there are people across the UK, and there may be some other cities where things happen. We're networking with lots of other groups. There is a serious commitment to non-violence, both inwardly within the group and outwardly in the way that we practice any kinds of actions. We're talking about a mass system change, which makes the inaction a criminal and illegal act, and our criminal illegal acts will be much less than what's taking place. And there'll be about 2 weeks probably of fairly high level disruptive direct action. And we're networking with a group who I presume you're probably all aware of in the States, the Climate Mobilisation, and then some other groups around Europe. So there will be, assuming we don't get what we want in the autumn, which is something that we're used to planning beyond, there will be more direct actions happening in March next year with a kind of international solidarity, let's say, hopefully. But this is something that we've taken to a few sort of leading green organisations, including Greenpeace. We've recently written to them to say, you know, your gatekeeping membership, really, if you won't share our campaigns, because in the past they've said that we're sort of too radical or we do too dangerous things, and they really want trained people to do direct action, and they seem to be pulled back from the idea of like mass participation, which is historically the only thing that's ever worked. So what we're sort of sending back to organisations like that is that we think it's time for everybody to work together, as I'm sure you'll agree, to create
Claire,
this.
if I can interrupt, Claire. This point is when Jordan, who's still with us, his video is off, but I hope he's still listening. This is where we need to talk to a lawyer, because although personally I am absolutely in support of direct action, of civil disobedience, we have to be careful, I think, as an organization, if we are that, as a website, about the statements we make and the things that we espouse. We can provide a forum, but if we are, we don't want the NSA to be able to come in and round us all up and arrest us on trumped up charges. And you don't need much for trumped up charges nowadays, pun intended. So we want to be real careful about official endorsement of what you're calling direct action, civil disobedience. So,
yeah.
Claire, this is really good. Do you have a website? How do we contact you to learn more about this?
Can I copy and paste something into the chat?
Yeah, go right ahead. Again, for those who joined late, the video recording of this whole session will be as a private YouTube, and I'll be distributing a link to that so you can watch it and you can share it discreetly with friends.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, hold on.
Okay.
Everyone.
Yeah,
we send this is our email address, so you can contact us if you're interested, particularly all the people who said that they're in the UK. That would be great. And I'll just post in a second, I'll put a link to our Facebook group, which you can just like, and then you'll see updates of what we say is happening.
Okay, and Claire, since you are in London, I mentioned, I think you were already on the call, I'm going to be in a trajectory that'll take me, in many, many places. I will be in London, and I would love to give presentation or presentations about the Scientists Warning Project. I give a kick-ass presentation. People go, oh my God, but they don't say get depressed. They say, what can I do? What can I do?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put out an email to the entire 1,200 or so people who are have endorsed our warning, saying where I'll be going, and I'm open to making presentations. So,
brilliant.
Any other new business? Okay, Rob, do we have anything we wanted to cover before we sign up?
No, I think we're ready to set a date for our next conference call.
Good.
Well, if I could just chime in.
Yes.
Please. Thanks, Jordan.
Just to follow up on what you just mentioned, and I'll note that a colleague, Andrew Reed, who's a law professor at Denver, is also, or he's a law professor, at the University of Denver, is also online. But I think it's good to assume that we will be spied on by government or private security forces. Maybe they work for companies, and I think it's good to remember to, in each case, to be able to justify your actions and your strategy into self-defense, legitimate self-defense claims. So if we focus on self-defense or a necessity defense, which is increasingly being tried in court proceedings as a defense to climate change action, that's a good starting point to base these discussions on. But I think we should plan as if we are or we will be spied on. I don't know if Andrew has anything to add to that.
I don't see Andrew in the meeting, though. Are you in the meeting? Oh, good.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, there you go. Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add, but except to state that one of the big problems we have in the environmental movement in the States now are the corporate interests. Big oil is heavily involved in this, turning around and suing activists for damages for interfering with their projects. So, for example, if you bring a climate action suit against the oil industry, they can turn around and sue the public interest organizations and the individuals involved in that as cutting into their profits and interfering with their business. Those are called SLAPP action, SLAPP actions. They're usually unsuccessful, but they cause problems because they usually require activists to have to retain counsel and expend the resources necessary to defend themselves. A few of them have been successful. There was one, I think, where the oil companies got a $200,000 judgment against some activists, for example. So I don't foresee any problems with an organization like this basically endorsing anything that's nonviolent. There's a difference between endorsing something like an action and actually planning and participating in it. So I think as a matter of, you can make a statement of support where you support it ideologically or in the reason why I'm interested in this, in what you're doing here is that it's science-based, and that certainly as a group that are committed to science and making decisions based upon reality of the situation, that I see no problems with endorsing various actions around the world, saying that it's something that's recognized as appropriate within our situation, global situation, based on the science involved. And I don't see any problems with that at all. By the way, while I'm making comments here, there's as you know, there's several other groups. Gus Speth has the Next System organization where they're planning on post-capitalist economic models and so forth that are an important part of this discussion. And also what's been going on right now, I think there's a meeting right now in Malmö, Sweden, by the degrowth movement. It's a global degrowth movement, and it's excellent. The scientists have a very strong role. I would say at least half I went to one a few years ago in Budapest, and I think over half the workshops were conducted by scientists. And it's talking about how to respond to our current global crisis, environmental crisis, by changing the way that we consume and respond to the use of the Earth's resources. And so there's another conference in Mexico City for the Americas taking place next month. And in my mind, they're talking about true sustainability, true sustainable models, rather than the oxymoron of sustainable development or green capitalism. So I think that there's some links that we can have. I'd encourage this organization to have place where you can click on to have sister organizations that are doing work that's consistent with the model or principles of the scientists that are involved in leading this movement.
What we intend on that, Andrew, is that we will have a partner page that displays logos and the textual name of the organization with a link to that organization. Now we'll have to vet and make sure the organizations are doing legitimate work and they're not Heartland's Foundation fronts or anything like that. But we intend to have that so that partners, we're basically co-branding. So we want to increase the flow of traffic to these organizations as well. So thank you, yeah. There was one other thing in what you said. Oh yes, I know our current thief in chief, I call him, is a strong believer that there is no such thing as bad press. So he invites controversy just because it gets his ratings up. I'll say on a corollary idea even though you don't want to be sued by a fossil fuel company because it does cost you money to defend yourself, those, if you bring the proper expert witnesses in, actually become forums for you making the point very strongly. And we would have no end of competent, qualified scientific witnesses to defend the urgency of the actions that we're doing. So,
yeah, and as an attorney, I think that's super important.
Yeah.
I think that an organization of scientists is crucial. Of enlightened scientists is crucial, and you don't even have to be particularly enlightened to know the problems that we're involved in with the Earth right now. But having those kinds of experts like Dr. Hansen, for example, testifying at these trials is super important.
I have a very strong personal connection to Hansen. I have strong connections with a number of climate scientists, with a number of general scientists. Gus Speth will probably be on our advisory board when I get back to him. So, you know, I'm, as Jane said when she came in, I'm just a public citizen, you know. I'm nobody special, but I've for years believed you just show up and you just keep doing it. And so I have this huge collection of contacts to important people. I literally can speak with the cardinal who holds the ecological brief for the Vatican. I can't say that they will endorse what we're doing, but I'm going to ask him when I see him in October. So, okay, any other new business? Otherwise, we'll set a date for the next meeting. Okay, I don't see any hands or comments. So now it's not critical that I attend these, but I like to attend them. And my travel schedule is grueling for the next 10 days or 2 weeks. So I proposed the 29th of August for the next meeting, or any time within a week after that. I'm in motion as of September 5th again. So, but does anybody have a problem with August 29th for our next meeting? It's a Wednesday morning, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Okay. Can we get a vote? Everybody in favor of August 29th? Raise hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any against? Opposed? Oh, you guys can't make it?
No,
got a gig.
We're playing music, but
okay. Okay. I think.
But it's all right. It's all right. I mean,
we could do it the following. No, the 30th. I have something in my calendar already. Let's do it the 29th. There'll be a recording for you and Heidi.
Yeah. Right on.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Hi.
Yes. Okay. Margaret, you wanted to comment?
No, I just saying, sorry, I have to go.
Oh, okay. Good. Take care, Margaret. We'll be ending the whole meeting soon.
Could Claire and Charles make it at, not Claire, but
Heidi.
Yeah, Heidi and Charles, could you do it on like the beginning of September? Like the 4th?
Yes.
The 4th is available.
Yes.
Because it's kind of good to have our web people on this.
Okay, so do you want to do it on September 4 instead, folks? Is any?
For me, it's a bit tricky because I'm coordinating the 3 climate marches in Portugal on the 8th, and that week will be rather difficult. I prefer the week before or the week after. But anyway, I don't need to chime in.
Okay, I think what I'll do is I'm going to we won't decide right now. We'll send out a poll with various dates, and people can, I think they're called doodles, and we can get people to sign up for which dates fit their schedule. Okay? It'll be the same time of day wherever you are. Okay, very good. We'll do it as a doodle.
Thank you for letting me chair the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, thanks very much, everyone. And you'll get an email about this meeting where it is online for you to review it or share it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good so much.